everyone again. This is Jennifer Escalera, and thank you for taking the time and being patient waiting for us. I have Greg Beckett on the line. He is our guest today, and we are talking about the 5 tools to activate change using the 4 agreements. And welcome, Greg.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that we have a chance to clarify, and hopefully everyone is there with us, hanging in there. And we were on a roll for a while, so
I know.
Let's get that rhythm back. We have it recorded.
Well, I get to do a redo with everything that I thought, I should have done that differently. I get that chance.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay. Well, let's start there. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about you and how you got involved with the 4 agreements.
Okay. I am a motivational hypnotist and coach here in Los Angeles, and I received the book, The 4 Agreements, from an aunt of mine. And I really, really enjoy this book because it gives me parameters to work for myself, is what it did. It helped me do so much work on myself, and it helps me give parameters with clients so that when we have the same language and understanding to move forward. The thing about the 4 agreements is that we've all had our own lives and our own upbringing, which we can call domestication, that says in the book. And I'm only to give you my perspective. You'll get your own. And it may be similar. You may see it different, because we're all in this in our own journey. So, and I may say nothing new, but just say it different, or it may be all new to you. So that's what I find about this book is I've read it many, many times. And each time as I've grown, I have aha moments where my perception changes and realize how I've been stopping myself or how I've been doing things to not allow myself to grow as much as I wanted to. And everything happens in its own time, so it's okay, but this book has just been great for me to continue growing at every level. Even though I do read other things, don't get me wrong, it's not the only thing I read, but it's my go-to, and it's a great place to start to be able to take, I look at all as taking responsibility for your own life, for everything in your life, and then be able to look at where changes can be made and how to allow yourself to move through things that are sometimes challenging. So,
so can you tell us a little bit about what the 4 agreements are?
There's the 4 agreements, and there's also the first section, which is really important too, is domestication, where it's where we got our perceptions and where we made our agreements or rules. That when we agree to something, it's about society, society's rules, parents' rules, our let's say our church or our group, our cultural group rules that we've all agreed to, and everybody's is different. And how we, as we step out of those, realize how confining they were, and learning how to grow through those, and no longer agree to those and break those agreements and make other agreements. And then we have the first agreement, which is being impeccable with your word. And it talks about speaking with integrity, saying only what you mean, and not speaking against yourself or others. And when I talk about that, I also it's not just about what you say. It's also about what you think, because we think in words. We see a tree, but we think tree, but which is also spelled out sort of in our head. You know, it's all about, it's a word tree. It's desk, computer. You know, so it's about what your thoughts are too. And then there's another agreement, and I laugh because it's always been my personal favorite because I had such a challenge with it. Was don't take anything personally, and nothing others do is because of you. What they're doing is they're in their own reality, just like I'm in my own reality, and you're in your own reality. So what they're doing is to take care of themselves or whatever fears that they have, and it has nothing to do with us. I think about people that get dressed and they're worried and they're going to a party and they want to look their best, which is great. We all want to feel and look our best, but they're worried about other people think about how they're dressed, if they wear the right thing, the wrong thing, And yet the other people are probably thinking the exact same thing. So here's two people worried about each other, thinking about what they're going to think about themselves. Does that make, you know what I mean? Thinking about each other. Well, you know what I'm talking about. That's how crazy and mixed up it is. Anyway. Don't, right? I can't even explain it right. It's so crazy. The other one is don't make assumptions. And it's really challenging. A lot of our life is based on assumptions, you know. We assume that light at the crosswalk is going to turn red and green, and we're taught to live in assumptions. But when it comes to human interaction, it's a challenge. It's especially in relationships. Let's say I bring you, Jennifer. I know you. I bring you flowers. I brought you red flowers. And you're like, oh, he brought red flowers. Doesn't he know my favorite's yellow? You know, and I'm still using you as an example, not that you'd ever do this.
Yeah.
You know, you know, why didn't he bring me yellow? There was yellow probably there too. Why didn't he bring me yellow? And unless you say something, I have no idea. And I come and see you again. Oh, here's some more red flowers. You're thinking, why does he bring me red flowers? My favorite are yellow. What's the deal? And so one day you might have the courage to say, and not make the assumption that I know, hey, how come you bring me red flowers? Well, I'll say, I thought you liked red flowers. Well, my favorite's yellow. Now I know. But we assume that we want mind readers as friends and partners and even our employers. You know, we need to be able to ask questions and not assume that people know things. And not be embarrassed to ask those questions. It relieves a lot of tension in our lives to ask. And then you also find out more about the other party when you ask those questions. How do they react? What's going on, you know? How willing are they to have a discussion about whether the toilet paper should be rolled over or under? I don't know. And then the fourth agreement is always do your best. Always do your best, which will be different, and it will change from moment to moment. It will change whether you're sick or healthy or tired or nervous. Whatever it is, just always doing your best. And what I find interesting about always doing your best is that we tend to, or I can only speak from my experience and people that have told me, you know, we look back at things that we did and we criticize and judge ourselves for the past that you can't change. It's done. And yet if you say, did you do your best? Clients all the time will say, did you do your best? You go, yeah. So then why are you putting yourself through misery over the past when you didn't know any better? You did your best. So now you know better, so next time you can do your best is different. It's better. But why try to judge that past that you did your best? Now, if you know you didn't do your best and you knew better, then you say, okay, that's the best I could do. I knew better and I still didn't do my best, but that's the best I could do. I know that sounds kind of twisted. If you knew better, but you couldn't, maybe fear, maybe whatever. But it really was the best you could do. So then you move.
How do you clarify what is doing your best being perfectionistic or being perfect?
What is perfection? There's no such thing. So if let's use flowers examples. I arrange some flowers on a table, and it looks great for me. Someone else says that's awful. And they rearrange it. Well, that's the best for them. Everybody has their own. There's no such thing as perfect. You're always doing you're always at the right place at the right time, doing what you're supposed to be doing, saying what you're supposed to do. You're putting judgment on something when it's best or not best. Perfect, not perfect. You're putting judgment on that perfection. So, who if you're trying to make something perfect, who are you making it perfect for? Is it that someone else will love you? Someone else will like what you did? That's giving your power up. That's about taking anything personally. If you do your best and someone else doesn't like it, then have them show you or tell you how you can do it better for them. It was good for you. Does that make sense?
There's this expectation when you're perfect.
Right. There's a
or when you're
on yourself.
You have to be perfect.
On yourself. And there's no such thing. You might want to be a perfect parent. I love this. You know, Where that came from, I don't know, but I'll go with it. Perfect.
Yeah.
You could be a perfect parent, quote unquote perfect parent, doing everything perfect for your child. Your child is going to still have issues. That's what we're here for, to grow. You can't protect your child from having issues. You may have given them everything they needed in just the way they needed it, and they're going to oh, well, you didn't let me learn on my own, or, oh, you babied me too much, or, oh, well, why aren't you still doing it for me? I'm 50. You know? So this world is about growth and change. It's constant. And we come here, I believe, my viewpoint is that we come here with our own things to work out anyway. You know, there's things that we can look at if we look at the past, and it's not to dwell on, but when I used to get upset about things in the past, and I realized it made me who I am today. Things that I didn't like then that I had to grow through, not avoid, not go under, around, avoid. I did for a while until I went through things that are really difficult to go through. And eventually I found out that's made me stronger and a better person. And had I not gone through that, I wouldn't be who I am. And at this point, I struggle like everybody else with different things because we're always having the opportunity to grow. But I pretty much like myself. You know? I think that's I don't, I love myself, I'm the best. Well, I am pretty cool. I like myself, you know? Well, there was a time when I didn't. There was a time that I would wake up in the morning and say, what am I doing here? Why? What's the use? I can't do anything right. You know, no one loves me the way I want to be loved. You know, all of those things. And that's a lot to put on everybody else. And I wasn't taking responsibility. And that's actually what this book helps me to do. Is to take the responsibility for my life. We create everything for ourselves. And even one of the big ahas that I had not too long ago going through the book before I met with you to talk about doing this teleseminar, I realized how I had an agreement of lack in certain areas in my life. I was going through the 4 agreements, and I said, why? I was thinking about, one of the agreements, and I was, actually it was domestication, how we have agreements, and I said, well, why am I lacking in this area? And I said, why do I believe that's true? I mean, this is after I've read this so many times, and it was an aha moment that I have created that lack for myself. And now that I have that aha moment of realizing that, it's now up to me to change it when I choose to. And if I choose not to, I can continue to suffer. But that's my choice.
How do you break that habit of choice with applying the 4 agreements? Like, some people might feel stuck and they don't see that they have a choice.
Well, first of all, it takes a lot of courage to change, and I applaud anybody that's on that road. You know, we can decide to not change and decide to just complain, and that's who we're going to surround ourselves with, so they justify our existence as unhappiness. But if you choose to change, it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to leave that job or to move from that apartment because it's a good deal, or to leave a relationship, or to no longer engage in certain friends. Because as you grow, you're reaching towards something with faith, something more. And you're leaving something that you had that was a for sure thing, but it didn't feel good enough. So it takes a lot of courage to move forward. So for me, when I look at the 4 agreements, not taking anything personally with my best one, my favorite friend.
Yeah.
And I may jump around here a little bit, people, so try to follow. I jump around. I apologize. But don't take anything personally. I remember not being asked to things, or why didn't someone ask me if I wanted that, or what's wrong with me, why didn't they this, why am I not asked out, all of those things. And it has, and even today, if I have a conversation with someone and they get upset with me, I ask myself after the conversation, or even while I'm with them, am I taking this personally? If I get upset, am I taking this personally? What does it have to do with me? Or how is it showing me that it's touching on a sensitive thought, a hurt place for myself that I need to look at. They're just triggering something, possibly. And I need to look at where it's from. But I always ask, am I taking this personally? Let me give you, I love examples, and I seem to be blank for a moment, but we'll get to it. We'll get to an example. But it's a big thing, even if it's an invitation to a party. You know, I can be not asked and wonder why wasn't I asked, and I can assume why I wasn't asked. That's another agreement, because all the agreements play in together. But why wasn't I asked? Oh, and then we start making excuses or reasons. Oh, I'm not. It was a pool party. I don't look good enough, or I'm not. Or it's a drink. You know, I don't drink. Or if I did drink, they don't. You know, whatever reason, and we start making things up because we're taking it personally instead of, well, I just don't need to be there, I guess, and I'll find something else to do. I'm not dependent on other people's invitation. You know, make a life for yourself. But the interesting thing is, if I were to ask them, hey, how come I didn't get invited? If I don't make an assumption and I ask, they might say, well, it was a bunch of 5-year-olds and their parents. Did you want to come with a bunch of 5-year-olds? We know that you don't hang out with 5-year-olds, you know. Oh, that makes sense. You know? Or I could have said, but I like kids. I would have babysat. You know, then they would know that I would like it. But that plays into the assumption, too, on both sides. Not taking things personally. Arguments. You may be having an argument about something, and you have to agree to disagree because people have different perspectives. But look at, why is it upsetting you? Why is it stirring you? If we talk about
Can you say a little bit more about that? Because I would say that that's my struggle.
Give me an example, my dear.
Well, I don't know if everyone wants to know, but
okay.
I don't know. I can take things personal. I can jump to conclusions very quickly.
All right. Let's say somebody's running. You have a friend that's habitually late to something.
Okay.
You know, why are they always late when we're going to meet? Why are they always late? Well, you could choose to continue to meet with them and always let them be late and love them for being late and know they're going to be late. Or you can get mad at them all the time. Why are you always late with me? You don't respect me. Well, really, do you respect yourself that you keep making plans with someone that's habitually late and allow them to be late? Or are you okay with it enough that you can just love them and know that they're going to be late and bring a book or your iPhone? Right? Those are choices.
Right. So those choices come with making accommodations or negotiations?
Right. Or, yes, everything is negotiation. Everything is accommodation in life, if you think about it. So I could be mad at them for always being late and wasting my time, quote unquote, right? Or I could say, why am I allowing that to happen? Why do I have to put it on them and be mad at them? They're not doing anything but being themselves. That's who they are. Why not look at myself and say, okay, what are they doing? They're disrespecting me, is what I would probably say. They're disrespecting my time. Well, Greg, and I literally do this, Greg, how are you in your life disrespecting yourself or disrespecting your time? Because no one can do anything to you that you're not already doing to yourself. I'm going to repeat that. You won't find it in the 4 agreements. No one can do to you what you're not already doing to yourself. So even by being there, knowing that they're going to be late, I'm disrespecting myself if it's something that I don't believe in. Right?
Right.
Now, there may be other
going to be late.
And let's say there's other areas in my life that time is important, that I've been playing solitaire or fiddling around with something else rather than doing my work, where I've been disrespecting myself, and they're just showing it to me. And I'm getting mad at them when really it's about me. And then I need to start respecting myself, and I'll surround myself with people that do the same. It's like attracts like.
Yeah.
Like attracts like. I find it very interesting if we're going to kind of just flow through here. We tend to want friends and we want people to love us. Come on. We all want,
Absolutely.
love and appreciation and stuff. And by the way, when we talk about don't take anything personally, it's also oh, you're the best. Oh, you're the best. Hey, you know what? That's their viewpoint because they're happy. Because you're doing what they like. And the next day they can say, you're horrible. You're horrible. Well, that's their viewpoint because they're in a bad mood that someone else yelled at them earlier. Whatever. We can't allow our feelings to take either the good or the bad personally because then you're allowing other people to navigate your feelings of your day. So I was going to talk about a second is how we give off our signal of who we are. We have energy. We're made of energy. We have our soul or core, whatever anybody wants to call it for themselves, our piece of God. That everybody has their own word. That's fine. But I'll say whatever it is. I say soul or I say core. So we have that. That's who we are innately. That part of us that knows everything about us, that's felt everything since we were teeny tiny to now. We have that part of us that lets us know that we're sad or we want to do more, we want to express more. So we have this, I'm going to use fruit as an example. Let's say I'm an apple and people are all fruit. And I'm an apple, but I really like the style of cherries and oranges. So this energy that I'm giving off is apple, and cherries and oranges don't like me. Why don't they like me? So I don't get it. I want cherries, but apples like me. No, get away from me. You're an apple. I'm an apple. Get away from me. I don't know. I'm not sure about you, apples, because they show us ourselves. I like you. And I said, I like cherries and oranges because they don't like me, right? It's a challenge. Sometimes, so then I start acting. Inside, I'm an apple, but I start putting on things to look like cherry and orange. And suddenly cherry and orange is giving me attention, And so here I am, cherry and orange-ish person, apple on the inside because I'm hiding it, and cherry and orange are my friends, and suddenly we're having a conversation one day and apple comes out in the middle of it all because you can't always hide what you really are. And they're like, ooh, I don't like apple. I like cherries. They like their type. So then you're mad at them because they don't like you, but they never got to see who you were. And they wouldn't have been your friend anyway because they like cherries and oranges. So we get mad at them when really it's ourselves. If we're ourselves, other apples and people, maybe there's cherries that like apples and oranges that like apples. And so if you're yourself, you get to surround yourself with people that like you. It's better to have 1, 2, 3, 4 people in your life that appreciate you truly than trying to grasp after people that are repelled by you. It's your own filter. It's your natural filter to attract and repel. The more yourself, the more you'll be content. And the more agreements that you make for yourself that are true to who you are will allow you to attract and repel people that are good for your life and not good for your life, naturally, instead of causing all of this commotion in making assumptions and all of those things and taking things personally. They weren't, you were the one pretending to be an orange.
Right. What if you're that... No, that's good. What if you're... So going off of that, what if you're that person who's just addicted to suffering, or you're just addicted to
we're all addicted to
chaos?
Humanity is addicted to suffering. Oh my gosh, there's a page on that, and I wish I marked this book with highlighter a lot. And I always have the 4 agreements in front of me when I talk about it when I have clients here, and I give them to clients, and I've got hundreds of them. And it's very interesting because one of the actual lines in here is that humanity is addicted to suffering. And I wish I could find it, because I marked all these other things, and I'd just like to read it to you, but I'm sure it'll come up if it needs to. And, it's true. And I realized, that aha moment I talked about when I had an agreement that I was not fulfilled in a certain area, is because I was addicted to the suffering. Now the question is if you're addicted to suffering, why are you listening today? The truth is, come on, why are you listening today? Go enjoy yourself. Go enjoy yourself. We tend to, you and I had a conversation, and we talked about stress. We think about different things to talk about on this call, and I thought about stress, and I said, you know what? But really what we want to talk about is calm. When we were initially talking about what do we want to talk about,
Right.
People when we talk about suffering and addicted to suffering, that's their story. What's the secondary gain? What are you getting out of it? People say, poor you, but after a while, poor you doesn't feed you enough. Your soul is still going to cry even more. You can't get enough attention because it's an empty pit, the suffering. And you wouldn't be on this call. Because you would have already hung up. Because it's telling you ways to get out. And once you hear something, you cannot unhear it. Once you have an aha, you can't unhave the aha. And it makes it more difficult to stay in that place. Staying stagnant is, not the thing that we're here to grow. We are here. We are souls to grow and move forward, upward, onward, however you want to say it. It's when we don't have growth that we get stagnant, that we get painful, that it hurts, that we get illness. We're here to evolve. So if you are addicted to, what was the word you said?
Suffering.
Suffering? Yeah. Well, congratulations. Are you going to get a medal for it? I'm a little sassy, sorry. But, it's just, what good is it doing you? Because it's not doing you any good. We already know that. It doesn't make sense in the natural evolution of growth. So the question would be, if you were sitting in front of me, you said, well, what are you getting out of it? And then what happens is we have thoughts and ideas, agreements that help us double bind or agree to that suffering. Let's say I say, I'm happy if my wife is happy, or my husband's happy, or my roommate's happy. Well, what if they're never happy? So that means I have to do whatever I can to make them happy, which is not living true to myself, which causes me to suffer. But I'm willing to suffer to keep them happy. But what if they were happy, but they're unhappy because you're not happy? Well, then you don't know how to be happy now. It's going to be a process. For someone that's addicted to suffering, it's a process to learn who you are and what you like. And maybe you're afraid of who you really are and what you really like. Because then we're really talking about putting judgment on what's good and bad. Maybe it turns out that you're raised very strict Catholic and you find out, or let's say a spiritual group that doesn't drink or doesn't smoke. But then you found out really the truth is you like to party. That's just your thing. You like to entertain, have friends, have drinks and stuff, but you're so afraid of that you're not allowing it to yourself. Well, that's an agreement you made that now it's time to make a different agreement because you're putting judgment that that's wrong. You're taking the judgment of other people that you grew up with, that domestication, and bringing it to your adult life that truly doesn't work for you anymore. But that means there's work to do to make that change so that you don't suffer that area or that thing that you're wanting to grow to be. And not put judgment. Oh, judgment. Oh, thy name is judgment. We love it so. Right or wrong? Is there any? Is there really any? Look, let's not go to the nth degree of murder and all of those things. Because society, that's, no one wants anyone to go through those pains. But let me say this. Out of huge pains comes growth. How many stories that we love, whether it's on your your Facebook feed or podcast, are people that went through something that they suffered and became these incredible, strong beings through that suffering. We can't have joy without sorrow. We can't know the difference then. Yin and yang, light and dark. So where's the judgment? someone may be in a very low, and we don't have to fix it for them, but we can show them compassion and love them for what they're going through. Not fix it for them. That's their job. You can't fix anything for anybody, by the way. But love them for what they're going through and encourage if that's what they want. And just assist them by holding space and being there and not beating them when they're down, so that they can get to another place. You know, and not judge them for it. I forgot where I read this. It was an article about addiction and the war on drugs. And I know I'm just flowing around, and I apologize if it's all together, though. It was a European country. They were spending so much money on the war on drugs. And what they decided to do was, instead of punishing everybody, they used all that money to start creating support systems and communities. And their drug addiction and stuff went down by 50%. Instead of berating and beating and imprisoning all of that, they started showing kindness in different things. And and you can find it. It's on the internet, you know, and it's been documented and everything. But it went down by about 50%. Because there was community. It was saying, hey, you're at your low. Let's see what can happen. What are you willing to do if we give you these things to grow out of it, to move through it? So.
So can you can you share with us just some of the results that, because I don't know if everyone knows, but Greg has groups, or classes, about the 4 agreements, right?
Yeah, last spring and summer I did a few classes. What I would do, and I may be doing some on Skype, which will be great. Not Skype, but Google Hangout, so you could be anywhere to do this. And what we would do is we would sit down, and everybody would have the book, whether they'd read it or not. They'd have a book, and we'd take turns reading and stopping. I would stop them, saying, hey, why hasn't anybody stopped on this passage to ask a question? I think it's important. Let me talk about it. Or if they had one that they had marked, they had questions or wanted to talk about. And we would go through each book. So it was a series of 6 classes. We'd go through each section of the book, and then at the end, what we would do is we'd do a group hypnosis. I'd lead a group hypnosis based on what we talked about that day to help place all that freeing of old agreements and those conversations to help it settle in better into the subconscious to help them move forward. Which, by the way, while I'm talking about that, if any of you have a pen, if you take down Greg, Greg, at hypnosis, hypnosisla.com. If you send me an email this week, what I'll send back to you is an audio that I'm going to make after we finish this talk. Because I was going to do it before, and I said, let me wait and see what we talk about. So I can, just like a class, make from our discussion an audio based on the 4 agreements in this discussion that it's a hypnosis audio that you can use to play at night or when you want to rest in the middle of the day to help start changing those thoughts, to help start reprogramming yourself to move towards the positive and make some agreement changes and things like that. So send me an email, Greg at hypnosisla.com, and even if you're listening to a replay, send it to me, and I will send you out an audio, a link that you can download it to your computer or your iPhone and have that for yourself. So
awesome. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah, so you're welcome. So what was really cool was people found themselves coming back week after week, and I'd say, hey, I like to always start, what are you grateful for? Because we like to start in the positive and what's going on. And then how did you use the 4 agreements in the last week or the last 2 weeks, whenever we met? And it was really interesting how people said, I did this, I did that. And then someone would come up and say, I did this, and then someone else did that, and I didn't like that. And someone else in the class would say, hey, look, you're taking it personally. I mean, it's really fascinating to see how, even though we have these 4 agreements, and how they interact, that we might be focusing on one agreement, and it brings up the other one. Because we shift around to make allowances for how we feel. And this all can be done, though, just on your own, just really being honest with yourself, and knowing that it's not overnight. All of the books, whether it's the Four Agreements, the Untethered Soul, any of these books that we read, the one thing that I've found is the use of what you learn. We read tons of books and say, oh, I read that book. Did you read this book? Oh, I found it fascinating. Well, how much of it did you do? Did you actually take to heart and do? And that doesn't matter whether it's the one we're talking about today, any of them. Maybe you have a favorite book that, you just read and you thought that was great. But if you took action on that self-help book, on that to move you forward, that's what makes the difference. Because the only person that can make change is ourselves. No matter who, what, why, it's all up to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes. 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 Or yum. Or yum. Or yum. I could be whatever.
I want to take this time to open up, because we're almost out of time, to see if anyone has any questions or comments for Greg. And what I'm going to do is, if you can call out your name, and I'm going to write the names down and then select one person at a time and then mute everyone. So this is my first time doing it, so be patient with me if I am not able to get this correct, but I'm going to go for it. Here we go. All right, so go ahead and okay. Can you guys still hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, you hear me. Okay, so I guess I didn't push the right one. If you want to hit *6 and tell me your name, and then hit *6 again to silence yourself. That way we can take some calls and answer some questions or comments that you might have.
Linda Wexler. Hello?
Yes, who's this?
This is Jenna.
Jenna, okay, all right. And if you could just mute yourself really quick, just to see if there's anyone else.
Hi, it's Ashley.
Ashley, okay, if you can just mute yourself, please. *6.
Hi, this is Claire.
Claire, thank you. And if you can mute yourself, *6. All right, so I got 4 callers. We'll start with Linda. So Linda, go ahead and unmute yourself and *6.
Oh, hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. Hi, Linda.
Hey, hi, Greg.
Hi.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for doing this. I really enjoyed your talk and look forward to using it.
Great. Did you have a question for me?
No, I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, and I hope we get to keep in touch.
Sounds good. Take care.
Thanks, Linda.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do *6 again. And Jenna, if you want to *6.
Hi, Greg.
Hi.
How are you guys?
Great.
Good.
Good.
How are you?
So this is really exciting. I'm really glad to be on this call. I've read the book several times, and I love all the lessons I've learned from it. But there's something that I feel like I keep getting held up on that I think relates to this book a lot, and it comes to dating. I live in Los Angeles, and I've been dating for a long time, and I just turned 30, and I'm still single. And I try not to take things personally when it doesn't work out. And most of my friends will give me the advice, oh, you just need to be happy on your own and make sure you're enjoying your own life. And you're going to only attract the same energy that you give out and all that stuff. And so I try really hard to stay positive and put out good energy, but it seems like no matter what, I attract negative experiences and men that don't respect me and things like that. So I was wondering what kind of advice you have for someone like me in my situation.
A wonderful person like you, I would say, and I'm listening to you, I'm hearing what you're saying. You're saying you're attracting men who disrespect you.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we attract people, which is interesting, that we attract relationships that are comfortable, but when we find the comfortability, sometimes we create our old family dynamics and looking for something from that person that we didn't get from our parents or whoever it is that raised us or whatever dynamics in our family. And we think that if we find someone and we were to make it right, then we would be like the winner. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Definitely.
So there's no winning. So you're attracting people, you're saying, that disrespect you. So how are you already disrespecting yourself? Is it by just, it's okay to say no to dates. It's okay to go out with your friends and do stuff, and it's okay to whatever. And I hear from you that you want to have somebody.
Yes, definitely.
But don't have someone enough that you will take the dates that you already know that they're kind of disrespectful. There's got to be some red flags coming up that maybe you're not seeing.
I've thought about that, yeah.
Yeah, and if it's over and over disrespectful, how are you disrespecting yourself? Maybe it's even going on a date that you didn't want to go on. Or maybe it's, I don't know because I don't know you well enough, do you know what I'm saying? But it's typically something that you're trying to do or fix or change that, or, do you like them the way they are?
I think a lot of times,
you go on the date?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
And we tend to fall in like and in love and in lust without even knowing them because we like the feeling. It could be 3 dates. Oh my God, I love this person. Really? Have you had to share a bill with them yet? Have you gone camping with them yet? Have you know what I mean? We tend to create these ideas and fantasies. Hey, and you're not the only one, trust me. I've done it too, And they're not who we wish they would be. We have to, I don't date potential. I do my best to not date potential. I date the person. If there's things that they do that I don't like, nothing wrong with them. They are perfect. I had a date, I went out a few times with somebody that drank a lot. And I said, look, it's not going to work for me. You drink a lot. And they said, well, I won't drink. No, I don't want you to not drink. That's cool if that's what you like to do. Just, it doesn't work for me. We can still be friends. I'm not trying to change them. I want to find someone that I'm happy with who they are. So, and I'm happy if I'm happy who I am, and then grow and grow together in our own way.
Well, my final question about that, absolutely, is when everyone says to me and has for years, it must just be the energy you're putting out there. You need to be happy with yourself before you meet someone. And it's hard for me because I spend more time on self-help than anyone I know and really getting to know myself and loving myself. So seeing my friends that are unhappy in their lives, that are in healthy relationships, they're happy relationships, it's hard for me to understand why I don't have...
That's your perception of their relationships and what they're telling you.
Sure.
Don't compare yourself to anybody else. And a friend of mine said something to me that I got to say to you, and it just rang to me true. You know what she said? She says, I'm going to go out and live my life and allow someone to come. So at least I'm having a good time while I'm finding someone.
That's great advice, actually.
Doesn't that make sense? Go out and do what you like to do, because then you'll find people what you like to do.
That's true.
Yeah. Instead of worrying about finding someone. Because also, too, law of attraction stuff that everybody talks about, I had this aha thing and deal with my clients and talk to them about it a lot, is don't talk about what you don't want.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? Talk, do it in the positive. Hey, I want, and maybe because of what you want is so wonderful, it's going to take a little while to get that one. There's a lot of no's before you get a yes.
Right.
Just have a good time. If you're smiling and laughing and having a good time, you'll get someone else that's smiling and laughing and having a good time.
That's very true.
So...
Thank you for saying that.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Jenna.
Have fun.
Okay.
Thank you. Ashley, you want to star 6?
Hi, it's Ashley.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi. I just wanted to say thank you for this call. It's been really great, and Jenna's last question actually provided a lot more insight, too. So I just wanted to say thank you. I didn't have any questions at the moment.
Well, I appreciate that you guys really enjoyed the call. It means a lot.
Yeah, that was really great. And I have a copy of the 4 Agreements, and I read it once, and I'm like, I should probably read that a couple more times.
How long ago was it, Ashley? How long ago was it?
3 years ago.
Oh, please.
Yeah, so I'm like a completely different person now, so maybe I'll go back. Yeah.
Right. And if you have questions, email me.
I will. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. All right, Claire, star 6. Is Claire still there?
I'm here. Hi.
Hi, Claire. Hi.
Hi. Hi, thank you. This has been so fantastic. I'm really enjoying it.
Thank you.
So my question is, I sometimes struggle with sort of, I kind of call it the fear of the unknown. I tend to be a real planner by nature, which I think is an agreement that I made with myself for some reason a long time ago. So I'm aware of this. I'm very aware of this, and I actively try to put energy around letting things unfold, because sometimes, and usually, I find that the best things happen when I naturally let them unfold versus trying to, plan them out to a nice degree or understand from the beginning how it's going to see the outcome before. I usually find that if I let it play out, that it usually ends up being better. And that being said, we're having our first child this summer. And, oh boy, between the pregnancy hormones and my tendency to want to plan everything out, there are so many things that are unknown for me right now. How really important I would maintain our independence, and we have families that are super excited to basically just move in with us. And we enjoy, our free time going to concerts and things like that. So, we've talked at great length about having a standing date night and things like that. So I'm trying to put some things in place that will help ease my mind a little bit about some of the things that are unknown. But I also recognize a lot of just going to be unknown until we actually cross that bridge. So I was wondering if you had any thoughts on how to manage the anxiety of those things that are, the unknown. And I guess how to manage the anxiety about them, but then also let them unfold and reveal themselves in a way that that works for me, that sort of align with my principles. If that makes sense.
I'm gonna say a few things, and we're gonna have a little bit back and forth for a second, you and I, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Here's first of all, congratulations on your baby. And the coolest thing is, depending upon your belief system, and mine is that we choose our parents. So you have this soul, from my viewpoint, it may not be yours, and you'll stop me and say, no, I don't want to hear that. That they chose you, so there's no way to screw it up. They already know who they're coming to.
I love that.
And even if okay, and let's take the judgment out of it, but I'm going to use the words bad and good. But let's not put judgment on it, just for an example. Even if someone has bad parents, that might be what they needed to get through something to make them stronger for later. They already know what they're getting into. So doing your best. And so that's, they chose you. So I want to say that first of all. That's usually a good stress reliever right there. And you can find some more of that viewpoint online and things like that. The other thing is, what is your faith? Where is your my big thing, and I say this to myself dozens of times a day, because fear pops up here, there, everywhere. I don't want to go there. Why not? Oh, I'm afraid. Oh, why are you afraid? But the thing is, for me, is fear and faith. You cannot be in both at the same time. Fear and faith. You can't be in the both at the same time. I came from a very Catholic family, and I love my aunts and everybody, and they go to church and they're really good, but they're full of fear. I said, well, but God's going to take care of you, right? They say, yes. Then why are you afraid? That's like being a little kid, and your parents are going to take care of you, but you already don't believe them, right?
Yeah.
But as a kid, we do. So I want to say, when you're in that struggle of fear and faith, think of that question: am I in fear or in faith? And what is my faith? And let's just go with that, because really, I think you have a lot more confidence and competence than you give yourself credit for. And you're afraid to do it wrong. When you talk about anxiety, I don't want you to say that anymore. There's a whole conversation Jennifer and I had was, let's talk about calm. Stop calm. Every time you say the word anxiety, you're giving it power.
Yeah.
I don't want anxiety. How about I want calm? So you'll start moving towards that instead of fighting anxiety, you're going to move towards calm.
Yeah.
That's being impeccable with your words.
That's interesting.
Right? So when you start having, and when you're having those thoughts and those words, switch them. And you're going to find, if you were to take a pad and just mark a little line every time, like a thick line, like 5, 10, 15, you'll be surprised how many times you're going to have to switch it when you first start this. Switch your words. Switch your words. And because a lot of people don't know, they know what they don't want, but they don't know what they do want. And the universe, God, life gives you what you do want, not what you don't want. Because when you say what you don't want, that's what it's going to give you. I mean, meaning it'll give you what you don't want because you're not saying what you do want. Does that make sense? I know I just kind of made that clear. Does that answer some of your question and help you have some...
Yes.
And don't forget, if you would, right now, I'm going to ask you to do something. Take a big breath. See, now, you're going to have a baby and have a good time.
Yay! Yay! Have fun! Yay!
Thanks, Claire.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up for us today. And
Can I remind them real quick my email address?
Of course.
Yeah, to get the audio, it's greg@hypnosisla.com. So, and if you have questions on the 4 agreements, you want to email me or find out when I'm going to do my next series, if I can do it online, which would be great. Maybe this will be the first one with some of you guys, ladies, people, persons.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so that was one of my questions. So thank you, Greg, for taking the time to share your wisdom and all of this goodness. So how can we keep learning more about you? Is it just through your email, or do you have a website, or do you have...
I have a website, hypnosisla.com is my website. I also do train people to become hypnotists, hypnotherapists, if people have any interest in that. Also, I'm on Facebook. Hypnosis LA is the page. And then also Greg Beckett, believe it or not, because at one point I was in the entertainment industry, so it has a couple of names. But just you'll find me. We'll work it out. Send me an email. Stay in contact. It was great. I appreciate you guys listening.
Awesome. Thank you, Greg, and thank you, everyone, for joining us on the live call, and enjoy your free gift, and hope to hear from you guys next time. Thank you all.
Thank you.